First-time homebuyers are getting a major case of sticker shock these days. There's a new report out from Zillow this week. It shows the price for a starter home is, get this, over $1 million. It is not isolated to places like California, New York City, those huge metropolitan cities, but in more than 200 cities across the country. With us is real estate broker and the vice president of the San Diego Association of Realtors, Mark Powell. Mark, good morning.
Good morning, Hannah. Thanks for having me.
You live and work in the state with the most cities with $1 million starter homes by a wide margin. In your case, looking to the next county over may not make a difference, but what are you telling buyers?
Well, what I'm telling the buyers to do is they need to prepare by getting pre-qualified and getting that down payment ready to go. However, understand that to be a first-time home buyer in places where I live, like San Diego, California, the buyer has to make roughly $230,000 a year. Now let's frame that up. That means that you can have two people making $120,000 apiece. You're going to be able to purchase a home. But a single person, let's say under the age of 30, it's highly unlikely that they're going to start off in their career making $230,000 a year. At least I don't know a whole lot of people that are doing that right now.
You made a really good point, and you're not alone. There's so many real estate insiders that are preaching about the importance of getting pre-approved. Why is that so important? That's before we even start looking for homes.
Well, the reason why you have to get pre-approved is just like if you're going shopping, you're going to go out to a restaurant, and you want to know how much money you can spend. You don't want to go to Ruth Chris, let's say, for example, with $25 in your pocket. You're not going to get a meal out of it. So you have to know exactly how much money you can spend. And what I'm encouraging a lot of buyers to do is sometimes one individual family can't afford a home. I've seen families now pool together and two families now buy a home. Yes, it's going to be a little bit uncomfortable for them, but now they're able to buy a home, or a brother and a sister, or two sisters coming together and buying a house. So families are pulling together. But what we have in California and all over the country is we have a perfect storm. That's where we have low inventory, high interest rates, and salaries haven't kept up with the cost of homes. And I'll give you a personal example. When I started my career as a school teacher, I was able to afford to buy a house on a teacher's salary, roughly $40,000 a year. That was in the late 90s. This same house, if I had to buy it today, I'd have to make $230,000 a year. Now, what school teacher do you know that's making $230,000 a year, or police officer or nurse? So what we're having is we're having our professionals, our service professionals, the fabric of our community, not being able to live in the neighborhoods that they're actually working in.
And that's not even factoring in down payments. Do you recommend putting down as much as possible?
Yes, you need to put down a substantial down payment. So what a lot of people do is they get something called a gift letter. That's where a parent, a rich uncle, somebody gives them enough money to help them for their down payment. But understand, there's going to be some tax consequences. If somebody gives you, let's say, $100,000 or $50,000 for a down payment, you need to talk to your accountant or your tax attorney to find out what that's going to do to your own personal taxes. It's nice. It's always nice to have rich parents or a rich uncle that's going to help you with that down payment, but there's also those consequences. Be aware that those will come up in the future.
So let's take a step back. Besides getting pre-qualified, you have some other tips. They include reducing your debt, working with a seasoned realtor. What more? Tell me more about that.
Well, working with a seasoned realtor is probably one of the most important things, because the real estate laws have changed as of August of last year. Now, if you're going to buy a house, you have to have a contract with your buyer's agent. That means that the buyer is on the hook for that agent's commission. So if you're going to buy a house, let's say in California, and it's $1 million, and the average commission is going to be about 2.5%, the buyer themselves now owe their agent $25,000. Now that buyer can ask the seller to pay their agent's commission, but the seller is no longer obligated to pay that commission. So it's a very touchy thing. It's not the way it used to be, where you were guaranteed a commission if you sold a house. If the seller has their own agent, the buyer has their own agent. You negotiate your commissions with your own realtor.
That is such good advice and insight. Mark Powell, thank you again.
Thank you for having me.